Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Porsche parts. So we had these parts come in. They are for a rear spoiler for a Porsche, or a rear diffuser actually. And so we're going to talk a little bit about carbon fiber and the way that it needs to go, direction. And so one of the things is that, of course, with a lot of the higher end cars or even a low end car, whenever you're doing carbon fiber, you always want to go a certain way. And so with all of these pieces right here, it's very easy to just take these pieces, dip them in, take this one, dip it in, take this one, dip it in, no problem. You got carbon fiber. But here's the thing, they all actually go together to make one rear diffuser. So what we've actually done is we have figured out the model of the car, as well as we've got some pictures here, and kind of wanted to show you this. So we've got our pictures, or we got our parts over here, but this is how it comes out all together. And so we've got a your left, and then a center, and then a right. And so if we were going to be doing this and we just picked them up and dipped them, we might have one that goes this way, this one center one may go that way, but then this one will go that way. That's not going to look good. Now if it was just this one piece right here, sure, might look fine. But whenever you have all three of these together, you want to make sure that it's absolutely all going the exact same way. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to make every one of them, and in this case it doesn't really matter, but we're going to make every one of them go the exact same way, so that way we all have the carbon going the exact same way. So what we're actually going to do is we are going to match these up and get everything exactly perfect on it. And so we can pretty much take this, and we know that that sits right there, that sits right here, and this sits pretty much like that right there. And so what I'm going to do is I am actually going to take and put tape down just like that, so I know which way the carbon runs every single time that I'm dipping. And so by doing this, I'm going to take these lines and actually translate them to the back side of it, so that way whenever I flip it over and I go to dip, I know 100% that as I'm dipping down into the water, that line matches up with the carbon that's on the film itself. And so in this case, we'll get this thing back in here. This is all going now the exact same direction on every one of them. So what we're going to do is, and yes, this does take a little bit more time, but it makes for a better looking object whenever you have it all dipped and you've got multiple pieces. So in this case, I'm actually going to take this and flip it over and put it back in the exact same spot. Yep, just like that. So now I have the exact same line from there to there. So it's more of a visual indicator that tells me exactly that if I'm dipping this and I'm going down in the water just like this, I know 100% that that carbon needs to be going that way. So of course, as usual, make sure that you pull this off, because not saying I've ever done it before, but if you leave that on there, apparently the dip doesn't go past the tape. I don't know why. Anyways, you got to redo it. It's not that fun, so don't do that, okay? So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put the tape on the rest of these all the way through here, and then that way we can go ahead and pull this side off and make sure that everything goes the exact same way. And so of course the carbon that we're going to be using is the most popular one. It's our CF282. We'll have the link in the description below, as well as we have base coated this in our charcoal metallic gray. So I'm going to go ahead, get this finished, get the film all laid out, get it ready to go, and then we'll get started again, so stay tuned. Alright, so we've got everything laid out here, and of course we have our carbon going this way, and it's the exact same way that it's going to be going whenever we're looking at the film as if it was on the water. And so pretty much we are ready to go. A couple of things to remember is that of course you want to prevent any of the air that's going to get trapped inside of this. So do not dip it just like this, because you're going to get air trapped up inside in here. The other thing is that inevitably, because these fins are so large, you will get a little bit of stretch down in these areas right in here. Nothing you can really do about that. It's just the way that the carbon is going to stretch, and there's no way around it. Technically, these do pop out, so if you had wanted to, you could actually pop these out, do them separately, and then pretty much do everything all together. For us, we decided to actually leave them in there. The customer was fine with what little bit of stretch that was already going to be there, as well as it would line up exactly perfect whenever we leave them in there. So that's going to be a personal preference on whether you want to take these out. Some of them, they are molded into the plastic, so you can't take them out. So that's something to remember as well. But in this case, whenever we're dipping, we're just going to hold it just like this right here, keep it at a nice good angle, going all the way down, and then towards the end, we're either going to leave it like this, or we can leave it like that. But either way, we want to make sure that we release any of that trapped air that can be up inside in this area right here. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and cut all of these off here and then lay this down into the water. So we'll set that like that. We'll make sure our tank's ready. So with something like this, we're just going to go corner to corner. So go down right there and then just go down like that. So even though we've got a trapped bubble right there, that's not going to hurt anything, simply due to the fact that we can just take this air and then blow it right out. Same thing right here, we can take the air, blow that out, we're good to go. So now, of course, we can pull our dividers in, get that nice and tight. And in this case, because it is a little bit larger piece, I set the timer for about 40 seconds, just so by the time I get done spraying, of course, everything will be ready to go. So let's get some gloves on and then get started. All right, so 40 seconds on the clock. Again, normally it's 60, but because of this size, we're gonna go a little bit less. So just make sure you have a nice, smooth, even pass all the way around with your activator. And as you can see, you mainly just want that glass look like what we've got there. So once we have that, we'll double check everything, make sure everything's good, and then we will start right here. And then just slowly bring it down into the water just like this. And of course, the biggest thing is as you're going down, you don't want to move like that, because if you do, your carbon is going to have a wave as you're going down into the water. So we'll bring this back out, take a look at it, and there we go. That is going to be a carbon fiber diffuser for a Porsche. Now again, of course, we got the other size that we got to dip. As you can tell, we did get a little bit of stretch down in some of these areas right in here. Not a big deal, but again, the customer knew it beforehand, so they were fine with it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get this rinsed, start dipping the other pieces, so stay tuned. Alright, so we've got another one here that we're going to be doing, and of course this is going to be the center one. So the center one, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have to feed it into it, only simply because whenever we go to dip this, if we don't feed the film into the part, it'll create a lot of stretch. And so you'll see this whenever I go to dip this. So let me go ahead and grab some gloves on and then we'll get started. All right, so we'll go ahead and activate this. So we've got our line back here, and so it matches up really nice with everything else. And so the main thing is that we're going to be feeding this in just like this. And so we're going to start right here, so that way we still keep the same angle and we don't trap any air. And then we're just going to slowly feed this down into it. Now again, there's going to be stretch, there's no way around that, but as we go down with it, we feed it into it, so then that way it stretches the least amount as possible. And so Now, whenever you go and you have that, you now can see that we have a very nice line going all the way across here and all the way across here. And of course, as you saw in the picture below, you do have 2 tailpipes right here to kind of help hide a lot of this in here, which still actually looks really good, even with the stretch that it did have in here. But all along in these areas right in here, we got a very nice straight and even pattern, and it goes exactly with the way that everything else does, so it's going to match up really nice. So we're going to go ahead, put these in the rinse station, get them rinsed off, do any touch-ups that we might need to do on them, and then clear coat them and show you guys the final results, so stay tuned. All right, so now that we got everything all sprayed, everything looks really good. The customer is definitely going to love it. So everything, of course, went high gloss, and so just so you can kind of see, I'll kind of put all this together for you, and you can see how whenever this lines up like this right here, that carbon matches up very nicely on that side, as well as putting it over here on this. Whenever it comes over across here, it matches up really nicely as well, all the way across here. So they're going to match up really nicely, and the customer is definitely going to like it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know we always do. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about them. If you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you subscribe to our weekly tips and tricks. And definitely, if you like the video, give us a big thumbs up. I'm Bryan from Liquid Concepts, and we're making hydrographics great again. We'll see you guys next time.